Sorry, the technical fault there was for a bit. I'll just recap on last week's lesson. Last week we were talking about truth according to what the Guru says. We went over this slide over here, how truthful are people, and we asked basic questions about a cashier makes a mistake, gives you £5 extra. What do? Put it in your pocket or give it back? And dent a car in a car park at night. Do you tell? Be honest. Your friend has cheated his neighbour. Who's your friend? Do you tell your friend? Late for job interviews, that kind of thing. And when we talk about being truthful, we were talking about Bhai Lalo ji. Guru Sahib's Sakhi about Bhai Lalo was where Bhai Lalo's his honesty came out when Guruji squeezed his food. But when we talk about honesty there, it was a limited amount of honesty that we were talking about. That we were saying that his profession, he was honest in his profession. But if you really go into what Gurbani says, it looks like Bhai Laluji was much more than just honest in his profession. And that's what we covered with this shabd here. This is in Asa ki war pe sach ta par janiye ja hriday sacha hoye. But the essence of it was one who has truth in their heart. When we summarize what a truthful person isn't just someone who speaks the truth. There's more to it than that. Because one who falls in love with Waheguru through Naam, Guruji says, Sach ta par jani, that's Sach tare pyar. Sach ta par jani, Guruji says, if you're living a true life through the way of Gurbani, that's truthfulness. One who's merciful and gives to the world, Daya jane ji ki kish pun daan kare. Guruji says, if you're compassionate to the world, that's an honest living. And this is an interesting part of Gurbani is Guruji doesn't talk. When we talk about just giving out of kindness, Guruji doesn't respect that much on its own. And when we talk about Sikhi, when we try to understand what is Guruji really saying, Naam ki cheej hai? That's what our question is. What is Naam? So sirf Daan dena is not enough. And we'll come on to that a bit actually in this week's topic. But one who dwells within their soul. Now Guruji says, Atam Tirath Kare Nivas. And to dwell inside your soul, and what we're doing all the time is we're going outwards. Barnu Jandaman keeps going outwards. That outward thing is called Mayavich Fast Jandaman. It goes into a false illusion. And it has hopes and desires all outwards. Guruji is saying you have to go inwards. Because that's honest person is someone jira Atam Tirath Kare Nivas. In the Atama which Nivas, Utte Nivas kar leve apna. That when we talk about, when we do Simran, when we do Kirtan, when we do all our Naam Japana, when we do Gurbani part, anything, oh is cheez le hai. Gurbani part, Naam, Simran, all that. It's not for, I see Baron Waheguru nu khush kar deta by just saying a couple of words to him. That's not what Guruji is trying to tell us. Guruji is saying is to find a place inside. When you dwell inside in there, God is actually there. Now, one who gets internal instructions from the Guru, actually those instructions, Bani, ignite something inside, and there's an internal experience, Guruji is saying, and one who uses truth as a medicine to remove sins. Now, honesty can be used in the wrong way as well, like we discussed last week. We say, I'm an honest person, but you can use that honesty just to destroy people. In other words, I'll be honest about something just to make a problem happen for someone. And that's not what we're talking about here. Guruji is saying we're using our honesty to destroy our sins. That's what an honest person is. Now, this week's lesson is on pleasing God. Now, I'm not going to read these slides, there's too much information on them. When we talk about Waheguru or God or whatever, is a survey in the United States, and they found, through, this is by Froze and Bader, not sorry, pronounce the name. They said that if you categorize people, if I asked you a question now, that what is God to you? What is God? What answer would we give to that question? Now, when they asked United States of America, Waheguru Kiya, they found that they've categorized it into 4 sections. Some were saying that he's authoritative. In other words, saying he tells you what he wants you to do and you have to do it. Some say God is like that. Maybe that's our belief. I'm hoping we can get rid of these beliefs by the end of this hour. You know? So someone who has an authoritative God believes in a God that is very judgmental and very engaged in the world at the same time. So he's there judging everyone. Oh, you're going to get punished for this, you're going to get this for that. That's one element of what people think God is, right? The second one is 22% Americans, and you've got to remember the top part, the ones who thought is mainly like is authoritative is the men. The ones who are doing the parchare bande, the men said he's authoritative. The evangelical women, majority of them, they were saying he's benevolent. Benevolent means he's kind, he's always compassionate, he's always forgiving our sins and all that. So they had a different view of him, saying that God is a benevolent God. There's others who said he's critical. So the third section of the people said he's a critical God and he's removed from daily events. He just stands there criticizing you, saying, oh, what, that person's committed a sin, that person's committed a sin over there. And you get judged in your afterlife. And we find a strong tendency for African Americans, who people who are at lower levels of income and education, to believe in God to just be critical, saying he's just checking sins. And the fourth one was he's distant. Some people just say he's distant out. He's made this universe and he's sat off over on some other planet or something over there, and he just let it carry on as it is. Now, that's kind of Islamic kind of view. Just he's on the seventh sky or something like that. Now, we've got to try to understand from our point of view, Guruji, why is Guruji telling us what is God, what is he to us, and what are we supposed to be to him? Now, this is too much information on this slide, but these are the highlights. Some of the highlights were, the people, 31.4% Americans, God is angry at humanity's sins and engaged in every creature's life and world affairs. The benevolence one saying there's still that the Bible should be set as law. They believe that the Bible should be set as law and that kind of thing. Again, so I'm not going to go through all of that, but those four sections. When we think of Guruji, when we think of God, when we have our relationship with God in the morning, it's supposed to be all day, right? But if we say when we do our part, when we do our nithanim, what God are we praying to? So that's the question. Now I'm going to start this today differently. I want you guys to sit through and just for 5 minutes and discuss those four areas, or is God something else? What do you think Waheguru is? And that's what we're going to cover today. So if you could get into just fours, just go through that. Do you think he's authoritative? He's just commanding what you should be doing? Is that what Waheguru we're praying to? Is he one who's always just kind and forgiving? Is the Waheguru just always critical of your actions? He's just waiting for you, adding up all your things, and then at the end he's going to say, right, you're going to get in trouble here? Or is he distant, just says he makes this world over here, sits back over there, watches it, let it go on, and says, wow, that's nice? Or do you think it's something else? So before we start talking about it, let's think about it first. So if you could just get into groups of fours or fives and just do that for 5 minutes. So Siddhi Karo, please.